What's up? It's your boy Carcino, and this is part 4 of the epic saga. Should be called the DTP saga, but this is the truth behind hip hop beefs, and this is another episode in that. The real one, means mine, not these fake guys. If it don't say Carcino for life, just abandon it. I don't know who these guys are, but yeah, this is Ludacris versus Field Mob and Sean J, or Sean J and Phil Mob, whatever. But Sean J seemed to be the most outspoken about the situation. And man, if you stop and think about it though, Luda had everybody on his side. And when I mean everybody on his side, I mean if he'd have kept all this together, he had the Midwest, he had a lot of this on lock. If he'd have just had an East Coast rapper that could really spit, he had the streets. He had what the streets was listening for at that time. They were really doing it. But anyway, when Phil Mob came out, these guys were like another out version of Outkast. These are some street brothers who didn't go as spaced out as out. They like the first Outkast out. Ashley the Classy was like, man, this is like what we missed. This is that, throwback to Outkast. The first album. And then when you hear that and you like, wow, then you hit Big Boy on there, you got Trick Daddy, you got all these people that debuted on the album. You like, man, these dudes are well respected. And then in 2002, they came out with From the Rooter to the Tutor. And that's what really put them on the map, because their first album, was a street classic and people heard about it like, man, who are these dudes? They for real. And then Sick of Being Lonely came out and was already doing his thing, and made some noise. It went gold. They had a gold album, sold over 500,000 copies. Smoke and Sean J. And the thing about these dudes is they were some real street brothers. They were speaking some knowledge on this stuff, player ish. So they were doing their thing. But Sean J and Smoke was coming up, they was still kind of in the streets and doing this, and things weren't looking right because MCA Records and all this stuff, they weren't really the right label at the time. They were going through transition. And when you're going through transition, they just like, okay, well, let's get them a deal because we promised to give them a deal. They got a little buzz. Let's sign them. But they never expected to really do too much. And they were like, man, are we going to ever get some love here from this record label? Because, dog, we ain't making nothing. So Luda seen the type of buzz they created and said, man, I'm going to pick these boys up. So he called up Smoke now. Shocking them reached out, and they thought at this time they had really split up. A lot of people didn't know that. Phil Mob was basically doing their own thing at this point. Us the MCA thing, they were just gonna do some individual stuff, but they knew they wouldn't get signed if they weren't back together as Phil Mob. If they was just Sean J and Smoke, it was never gonna go down like that. Now Smoke claims that he wrote most of the lyrics for Sean J. Like, man, I wrote some of that stuff, for Phil Mob when we were doing the group. Now, is that true or false? I don't know. But what I do know is this: they work great together. So when they came through the door, it was none but love. They picked up Chingy and they got I-20. They was part of a big family in which they love. Shaka showed them love. He's a street dude too, with sense. And everything was going great. Then on they had a track for the soundtrack of Ray, the movie Ray with Jamie Foxx. They had Georgia, the Instagram hit, underground hit, and that had Jamie Foxx on it, and Luda got on the song, and this was supposed to be on their album, but they put it on the compilation album Ludacris Presents Disturbing the Peace. And it was a good way to showcase them all again and say, look, they down with us. So when that compilation album came out, it had all the artists that they had on their label. So when that song Georgia came out, it made sense. So they say, all right, we'll rock with that. So they come out with like light poles and trees and all that stuff. And they had songs with Sierra and everybody else on this album was like it was it was the best thing they ever seen. And situations where Satisfaction on Luda album, on that Release Therapy, Sean J is on there, and Sean J is like, I was killing him on the songs. All the songs we did together, I killed him on my verses. And he ain't lying. His Satisfaction verse is 3 times what Luda's was. And he's saying Luda went back and changed his verse, and the verse still wasn't better than Sean J's, which is true. You go back and listen to Satisfaction, you'll say, oh yeah, Sean J went off. Killed that. So, and he was like, I killed him on Georgia. Everything I was on, I killed him. And his problem ain't that. But his problem was, dog, you stealing our money. And then he was like, man, where's our money at? And he's like, we never even said nothing public. We was like, look, man, we ain't got our royalty check. We ain't got nothing. Like, where's our money? And then Luda put out on that gigawatt, 1.21 gigawatts, back to the first time. And that was that, say it to my face, say it to my face. And he's talking about Field Mob. You got something to say, Chump, say it to my face. So he got real disrespectful on the song. Instead of having a conversation with him, it never even came out to that. So after this, things went left between the two. Disc records came out back and forth, and Smoke is still to this day, not happy with him. And he was like, Luda did not make Field Mob. You know what I'm saying? We had them Project Dreams. We had Sick of Being Lonely all before we went to DDP. So what is he talking about? He didn't create or have anything to do with Field Mob blowing up. If anything, we went down once we got with DDP. Light Poles and Pine Trees is dope, but everybody say the other albums is better. And then they put Georgia, of course, on the album. But what did that really do? So what was like the main single on the album, but it just wasn't better than their last 2 projects. And that was just really basically it. They still really at odds. And like, cause it's over business. And my thing is, what is DTP doing in the contracts that got everybody screwed up. You know how the old phrase go, everybody can't be wrong? Something's going on that somebody needs to look into because it's not making sense. So on that note, it's your boy Carcino, man. I'm out of here. Don't forget to watch the other 3 parts and watch all of them. Go to the playlist and subscribe. I'm out.